Welcome to my house. Fuck here. It's another Saturday night. We got the bait shop going on. Got a lot to talk about tonight. Hi, Jules. How are you tonight? Very good. I see we didn't get too many votes. I left it up to the community for where we were going to fish tonight. Got one vote. One. We had 5 choices. One vote or another. Maybe even 6 choices. I don't even remember. However, we're going to South America. We're going down to Bolivia. And actually, I kind of like that because I really want to see how these big catfish fight now on these McConseys. The game has changed tremendously. I was leveling up prior to the map dropping at the Congo, farming tiger fish and not having an issue at all with any of my McConseys, none of them. Well, I went back there just today. I left Japan because I'm getting to the point where I'm going to run out of line on the DLC sticks that I have before I can level up. The XP leveling is not as good in Japan. Let's just face it. It's not. Them uni stripe marlin bring in a lot, but you're not catching them that fast. I mean, it takes a while to catch these fish. And we'll talk about that too. We'll talk about that a little bit today. I'm good, thanks. Yeah, I can go. So I went back on the Congo just today with the same 4 McConseys, and I brought one other stick. I brought that Humorous, which I believe it's a 72-pound pole. Cody Literal, how are you? Welcome aboard. So I brought that stick with me. Well, the first trophy Goliath I latched onto, boom, gone. Too strong for my gear. So that's 72 pounds. Now, I caught Goliath on that before. Not a problem, a 72-pound bottom rod. Not no more. Lost there, sinker, boom, bang, hook, gone. And that happened 2 or 3 times before I finally put the stick away. I mean, you're just not going to get it. Now, Coach and I were out last night, and we were on the Congo testing this. We were having trouble landing uni now perch with now chasers and the Tropicanas. And depending on which stick you had, we think we had a little bit of a glitch going on there last night because it let the fish, it let one of them go on him with the Tropicana, a uni, and then he caught one later on the uni. However, maybe the bigger one, maybe it was just too big. I don't know, but it's pretty much what I've come to find out is the uni Goliath tigerfish, you got to have 80-pound stick or better, or you're not catching them. 36 kilograms, guys, or better. I mean, and that one's gonna. I'm hunting them. I got one stick. It's 81 pounds, and let me take a look here because that's the one. Yeah, I got one stick. It's 81.6. Now this is the DLC. All right, so it's the SE McConsey 1210 81.6, and it came with the Filer 11,000 SE, which is only a 79.4 pole. Okay, and now I'm running 79-pound string on it, and that string is just beat up in the red. This pole, it has a hard time bringing a uni in, 81 pounds. The other two, now the 81.6 that I built, the same one, but I put an Impulsion 12,000 on it because that's 81.5 on that stick, and I'm running 83.7. So I don't do too bad with that one, and of course my biggest McConsey is the 86-pounder, and I'm running Impulsion 13,000 86-pound engine on that, and I believe I'm running 88 string on that. So That one there, I'm not having any problems with the unis. The 81 with the 79-pound string on it, tough, tough. They just run and run and run and run. Um, so it's changed a lot. Like I said, the uni now perch. We still haven't figured out exactly what the limit is on what pole, but that's changed. So a lot of things. So that's why I want to jump down. I'm sad. Don't be sad. My dog. I hear you. Been there, done that. Buck don't want no more animals. Break your heart. Break your heart. All right. Besides that, all they do is eat money and poop work. That's the way I look at it. Okay, so that's the story of that. So I kind of want to go down. I'm looking forward to latching on to a couple of these big red tails and gildeds and see how these McConsies perform tonight at 8 o'clock. So that's where we're headed down. Excuse me, headed there. All right, what did we want to talk about today? Well, something besides all the new Fishing Planet fight tactics, I thought, you know how I always try to relate stuff to real life world, give everybody a little bit of a knowledge point. Did you know that kind of thing? So we're dealing with larger boats on this ocean map, and you're also out there in traffic with sailboats, and you're out there in traffic with cruise ships, fish trawlers, all this of the nature. Well, there's rules. I mean, there's just rules and regulations when you start driving a boat around. Now, it never bothered me too much to even bring it up in the older maps, because it's just everybody running around crazy with boats flying through the air on these little waterways. You and your buddies are really the only thing out there moving. So a lot of that was a lot of fun. Bumper pull, I called it. Bumper pull, running into one another and stump jumping. However, that's not how it works. So I thought I'd take a couple of minutes tonight and go over a little bit, like I got up there, a little bit about boat safety, boat requirements if you're going to run these boats out in the ocean. If you're thinking about getting a bass boat or something like that for your lakes around where you're at, there's a lot of requirements involved in running a boat. So I thought we'd hit on some of the finer points, smaller things that a lot of people may not know, that if you don't have this or follow this, it can cost you money. It can cost you money because the shore patrol will get you. And if you're out in the ocean, in the bays, I mean, you can even take smaller boats out into the bays. You don't have to get out there in the ocean. There's plenty of places. I mean, most smart fishermen don't take bass boats out on the ocean. However, if you're somewhere, inland where you're under 2-foot swells, you can kind of handle it. However, you got to abide by the rules. And the rules they may differ a little bit from state to state or where you live, but they're pretty much the same all around. Certain rules that you got to follow. Now, let's talk about classes of boats, okay? Anything under 16 foot is a Class A boat, all right? And they classify that. Now, 16 foot, but under 26 foot is your Class 1. 26 foot to 39 foot is your Class 2. 40 foot to 65 foot are Class 3. Now, your minimum requirements for everything. Any inboard engine, all right? All inboard gas engines, you've got to have backfire flame controls on them, all right? Must rule. So if you get up, make sure you know that. Got a boat, sound devices. Got to have a horn, an air horn, a whistle, okay? That's for under less than or equal to 40-foot boats, all right? You got to have something that can be heard a half a mile away. That's it. So it's a good idea to keep a little bag on your boat there within arm's reach, because that horn's got to be within arm's reach of the operator of the boat. So it's either got to be a whistle or an air horn. And this is used for while you're negotiating these waterways. You got boats and stuff coming at you. We'll talk about them little bit by little bit as the weeks go by. I'll bring up just different points about boat control, boat etiquette, and the rules and laws when you're out on the water. Okay, So your sound device has got to be there. Fire extinguishers. You must have a fire extinguisher on your boat. Okay? Now, who doesn't need a fire extinguisher? Well, no. Basically, unless it's a John boat, open boat. If you're less than 26 foot, all right, you need one, what they call Class B1 fire extinguisher within arm's reach. Let me hit the classes real quick for you on these fire extinguisher guys. Class A's are your solids, your woods, papers, cloth. That's a Class A. Class B is any flammable liquid or gas. Class C is electrical. Anything that's got electric undercurrent draw. In other words, it's operating. A fire where you had current there and you got electrical fire, that's Class C you got to have. And of course, Class D then is anything that's combustible metals. So you're required to have a Class B, flammable liquids and gases, okay, on a boat. Now, 26 foot to 40 foot, you got to have two B1s, or you can have one B2. And it's a B1 is how much retardants in each one, or a B2 has got more retardant in it. So you can have either two B1s on your boat or one B2. And if you're running a boat 40 to 65 foot, you got to have three B1s or one of each. And it's plain and simple that way. Okay? Now, if you're less than or equal to 26 foot, now here's the catch. If you're less than or equal to 26 foot and you have no passengers on board, and it's an outboard, you're not required to have a fire extinguisher unless you have closed compartments down to the hull. All right, closed compartments. If you have a permanently mounted gas tank, that pretty much puts the bass boats out of the way. Okay, we have closed compartments and we have permanently mounted gas tanks. So if you own a bass boat, you got to have a fire extinguisher. All right, that's how that works. All right, what else is on the list? Muffling devices. You got to have a muffling device. You can, like these yahoos on the lakes around here that come up there with them big race boats with their 454s with their friggin' headers sticking up 8 feet in the air. That when they fire them boats up, you can't even hear yourself. You know what? Well, that's illegal. I don't know where the Shore Patrol is on that deal, but that's illegal. Just saying. Quiet it down. PFDs. Gotta have PFDs, guys. Personal flotation devices. One for every human being or dog on the boat. That's how that works. Plain and simple. That's if you're 16 foot or less than. Less than 16 foot. Now, if you're 16 foot and up, you have to have not only one PFD for every breathing soul on the boat, but you also have to have an extra one throwable device. And that device is required that it has 16 and a half pounds of buoyancy. So, you bass boats, you're over 16 foot, but you got to have that throwable cushion. Got to have it. All right? Shore Patrol writes you up if you don't have that underneath. If you ain't got that on your boat, you get in trouble. All right. What else is next? Navigation lights. Let's talk a little bit about navigation. Very, very, very important. And you need to understand them because you're out there on waterways. A lot of times you're fishing in the dark. You're fishing early in the morning. You can't see. Huckleberry, I'm halfway to level 84 in the ocean. It's whipping my tail. Heading back to Congo, gonna grind perch until level. That's where I did. I'm back on the Congo right now, Huck. I'm back there. However, the life has changed. The Congo has changed since you once knew it when you left to go to the ocean. All right? Make sure you bring all your big sticks. Really. Don't even play around with anything under 81 pounds or you're in trouble. Okay. So, navigation lights. Guys, they're required on all boats, different sizes, where they're at. Check with your local check with your local regulations, but as a rule of thumb, for no matter what, you're going to see on a boat out near the bow, and we'll talk a little bit about terms that was doing at bow. That's the front part of the boat, the bow, or the bow. Sorry, front part of the boat. Now, these lights or navigation lights are going to be on the very tip. So a lot of times, like I got little poles that I stick in when I have put my navigation lights in. They're not there when I'm running the boat or during the daytime, but I'm running navigation. I have little poles that stick in and light up. So what happens is you got two lights in the front. Now they can be mounted in the very tip of the bow or to the sides a little bit, but they're always up in the front of the boat. All right. So you've got a red light that's always on the port side. Now port. If you're going to be dealing around boats, you got to understand side. Port is if you're looking at the front of the boat, you're sitting in the boat looking at the front. Port side is to your left. Okay, that's port side. That's where you're going to find the red light. All right. Green side on the starboard side. That's the right side. Okay? White is in the stern. You got to have a white light. Now, white lights come in at two times. When you're running and when you're anchored, you must have a white light that you can see 360 or some specifics on both sizes. It's at least 135 degrees. That white light has to illuminate. That's anytime you're anchored also. Right? And the bigger the boats, the more lights you got to have, that kind of stuff. Now, what do these lights do? Well, they actually tell you what direction the boat is heading that may be in front of you. If you're going out to sea, everything's dark, you see lights out there, and you're looking at a boat and you see a red light and a white light. So the red light's on the left and the white light is on the right. Well, you know that boat is crossing your path from right to left. That's the direction that boat is moving in. Vice versa, if you're seeing the green light, then he's going left to right in front of you. Gives you the direction that that vehicle, that vessel is moving. If you see the red and a green coming right at you, okay, get out of the way. Get ready, get a horn. He better see you too. You see both of those lights, you're in trouble. You can only see one, okay? That's why these lights are important. They're important to pay attention to. All right, what else do we talk about? A couple of the terms, okay? A couple of terms. Aft, of course, it's in the rear or the stern of the boat. They call it. The aft is towards the back. Forward is up towards the bow, front of the boat. Okay. Bilge. Your bilge. You hear people talk about bilge. I have a bilge pump. Bilge. What is the bilge? Well, the bilge is the lowest point in of your hull inside of that boat. The interior hull of that boat is the bilge. That's why you have a bilge. That's where your water collects. That bilge gets too full, and all of a sudden, you're in trouble. Okay? Draft. What is draft? Draft is very important. Draft is a measurement. Draft is a measurement from the water line to the bottom of your keel. Now, keel is like that main structure that runs down. It's the main structure of the body of the boat. That's the keel at the bottom. So your draft is the distance between your water line and that keel. That tells you the water depth that's required for that boat to float. Okay? You get less than that, it ain't going to float. All righty. Freeboard. What is freeboard? Well, freeboard is from the water line up to the gunwale. Right? The gunwale. Well, the gunwale is your outermost edge, top edge of the boat. That's called a gunwale. Right? So your freeboard is from the water line up, what you got above the water. Okay? A couple of other terms that you're going to hear. A hull, which is the structured body of the hull underneath of that boat. Of course, port side to the left, starboard side to the right. Port. Normally come in, dock on the port side. And a lot of these big boats get turned around by tuggers. Okay? Stern, of course, is the back of the boat. Or the aft. Transom. Transom is that flat back panel that outboard motors get mounted to. So if you hear somebody talking about the transom, that's what that is. That's kind of your boating terms. That's what you need. No port left on the way home. That's right. That's right, Coach. That's right. Okay, so that kind of takes care of these. Like, pay attention to your lights when you're out there, guys. It's very, very important. Otherwise, you can get run over for sure. Now, let's talk a little about one other thing that's very good to have. VHF, very high frequency radios. When you're out on a boat, they're not required. However, if you're on large bodies of water that you cannot see the shore, in other words, it's going to be a tough time, a tough swim, you better have a radio on. And there's multiple reasons why. Okay? Number one reason, weather. You get weather reports with that VHF radio. You know what's up and coming. They anything that's coming up bad, you're going to hear about it. Okay? You can be hours out on a boat. Weather comes in quick. Pay attention to the weather. You get yourself stranded, you get in trouble in a boat. Not a lot you can do except run like hell. Okay? It's not like you can buckle down if you're out there. It's like, Jaws, we're going to need a bigger boat. Maybe so. All right, number one, weather. What else can you do with that? You have that radio. Well, you can communicate with other boaters out there. You can get yourself stranded, so you can get a hold of safety calls. You can get a hold of the Coast Guard if you have to. Now, you can actually talk to commercial vehicles if you get on the right channels. And if you do a lot of river fishing, like we do here in Pittsburgh, you need one of them radios to talk to the bridge operators and the lock operators. And because if you ain't talking to them, you're going to be in trouble too. Because if you're in a lock, you got a little tinky 19-foot bass boat like I got, and you're in there with some of these barges, these 60-foot barges, you're just a little peon. And you better be talking to that man upstairs who's got his eye on everything that's in that lock. Very important, because he may be wanting to talk to you, and you better be paying attention. Okay, so that's the other thing, lock operators. So I'll give you a quick rundown on these guys. Channel 6, that's intership safety comms only. That's safety communication only, intership, on a ship. All right. Channel 9 is your commercial and your non-commercial ship to coast. In other words, Channel 9, you need to call the coast. Okay. Channel 13 is for your ocean vessels. Okay. Your bridge tenders, your lock operators. Okay. Your tugs, when the tugs are pulling and stuff, if you get into a lock and stuff, you better get on channel 13, because that's what everybody in around there is talking on. So you know what the hell's going on. Okay? Channel 16, that's your distress. Channel 16, guys, you get in trouble, call out on 16, you get a hold of the Coast Guard on 16. That's how you do that. All right, now, there's normal channels too. Channels 24 through 28. And channels 84 through 88, they're public telephone calls. In other words, if you're out somewhere, you get on these channels, you can hit an operator at the marina if your marina has got VHF operators on duty. I don't know. Go to the ocean here, go to report your trip to the Coast Guard, and have a signal blanket, flares, radio. Oh yeah, you got everything. You got to have the signal flares. Coaches hitting on bus and stuff there. This is, when you're out on a boat, it's very important stuff. It's not like you're running around on a small little puddle with a 14-foot flat-bottom boat. It's serious business, and you need to take it that way, because people die in boating accidents every day. Okay, so that's your public telephones. Now, your recreational boat guys. Now, if you're out boating around on recreational, you get specific channels to talk. Okay, those channels are 68, 69, 71, and 60 and 78. That is for non-commercial, intership, and ship to coast. So that's the channels for recreational boaters to use. Okay, now 72, channel 72, and that's the last one. That's for non-commercial, intership comms only. Non-commercial, intership comms. In other words, if you're on a bass boat, you don't need two radios. Your buddy's within distance. Okay, so these channels just don't matter. These are bigger boats, guys. Non-commercial, bigger boats. So you can talk from top to bottom, and you can talk along the boat. That's what VHF radios are all about. All right, we're going to the Maran River. We got 4 minutes. About 4 minutes. Uh-oh, you turned off. Put the bait up. You didn't put the fish up. There we are. There we got it. We're going to the Maran River. We're going after catfish. I'm really anxious to see how these McConsies now with the new fights, especially when I get on one of these red tails or gilded, and see what happens here. But that's where we're headed. We're going after the catfish in Bolivia. Right? So, flat whiskered, the gilded, the red tail, ripsaw, and the Saruba. Okay. I knew there was another one there. Baits. Guys, baits. Oh, but as far as I'm concerned, there's only a couple of baits you need. Dead Lambari fish, chicken liver, large livers. That works perfectly fine. However, you can go with shiners, large minnows, all your cut baits, your huge cut bait, your large cut bait works with these guys. Freshwater prawns, believe it or not, and freshwater crab. Now, as far as the ripsaw catfish goes, you can get away with the crawfish and the crawfish cut, and they actually hit on the morichi palm fruit, those ripsaws. So that's some of the other stuff. I didn't throw the morichi palm fruits up there in the bait because I would have had to go to another folder to get that picture, and I was running late. So it's not in there. Okay. You talked about the bait buck. You talked about boating. Well, guys, I hope. Well, at least you can always go back and take some notes. I hope you took some notes. And if you're thinking about getting a boat, be serious about, in fact, every state you could pick up one of these guys right here. All right? I highly suggest that you get one, read it, become familiar with it, because it tells you everything. Not a bad idea. We'll get into some other things later in the summer here once we get going. I might do a couple of videos on flushing a Mercury 4-stroke engine. Requirements to do that. Who knows? We'll see if people like smoke. Hope everyone is having a good holiday. Well, better late than never there, Smoke. All right. Where are we at? Right on the money. All right, guys. We're going to be back at 8 o'clock. We're headed to Bolivia. I'm still in the Congo here, so I'm going to have to pack up shop here, cash in my chips at the local fishmongers, and head on a plane and get back. But I'll be back by 8 o'clock, and then we'll have to turn around. I don't know. I'm here. I got to go back home and get some other baits and stuff. I was going to just go get a plane straight over, but I'm going to have to go back, I guess. Thanks for watching. See you next week on the Bait Shop. Remember, never ever give up the fight. And I gotta add, we all live downstream. We'll see you later.